is consideration of items for future meetings.
Wes, can I throw something out just for, I don't
Absolutely.
think it's for discussion. I just think the group should make sure that we are familiar with, it's House Bill 7 or 8. Laura, you may know this. It's the Mayfield bill about school district consolidation. IASB has taken a very strong stance against it. I think it's a very reasonable piece of legislation. I actually personally put a proponent slip in. But I think it's probably worth everyone's time to read the bill and see what it's talking about in terms of, because I know you've mentioned it before, we've talked about.
Yeah, so I'll put clarification. The reason why the ISAB has taken a stance against it is because they don't want the state to dictate consolidation, whereas the ISAB is not opposed to districts choosing to. They don't want to make it a state mandate. When Quinn was governor, one of Quinn's initiatives was that he was going to start to force schools to do this to save money. And it was going to become an action. He didn't win re-election. So the ISB at that time, they didn't want it to be from top down. They wanted schools to say, if it's in their best interest, yes, we want to do this, help us to move forward to that. But if a school district says it's not in our best interest, they still wanted the school district to have that autonomy.
Yeah,
No, I
understand.
understand.
Issue of local control.
Yeah, I understand the IASB's position, certainly. I don't agree with it personally. And I think it's,
Yeah.
I think it's worth reading the legislation directly as opposed to only reading the IASB summary, because I think there's some legitimate thought process that's in the legislation about a task force that would ultimately drive some of the discussion around consolidation. And I hear IASB loud and clear that it loses that local control element, and that's the drum they repeat. I just think it's worth looking at it because it's certainly moving through the legislature this spring.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's been something that, if COVID didn't hit, it was something, that I had asked that we looked at. There was a couple things we could have some of the business managers possibly come and talk to us from. There's many. Elmhurst is a unit district. Downers Grove is a unit district. Chicago's a unit district, for Pete's sake. I mean, we're surrounded by unit districts. Senator Bliss, he's a state senator from Evanston, was part of that process not too long ago. He could walk us through that. Oak Park said there are consultants.
He's the new mayor of Evanston, actually.
No, there you go.
Dan
So
Lewis,
he's
yep.
some of our ISAB kind of our West Cook meetings. Some of the we haven't had opportunity to mingle with other board members, but some of the board members in Oak Park said there are consultants who actually will come and mock up what that looks like, the cost, because then you have to take the union contracts from all the different districts, and that gives you kind of an idea of what that looks like. So yeah, there are a lot of things that we could do to start getting information and, to make informed decisions.
Can you send us the links in
Absolutely.
an email tomorrow morning of what you're talking about?
Absolutely.
So that I can look a little closer? I would appreciate that, because I'm not aware of it.
Yeah.
So I would like to
Yeah, I
know
think it's
more
the first
about
time
it.
it's gotten out of committee. He puts forth that bill every single year for like the last umpteen years. And it got out of committee. I read a whole thing. Yeah, it got out of committee. But you're right, like it is such a steep, uphill, difficult process.
Yeah, we talked about this 4 years ago when we first got on the board, because that was one of the things we really talked about, and it gets complicated fast. But I think there is a way around it. I think the finance committee will beat that around. I think because I had some really ideas on it, and it's really about taking the feeder schools and the continuity of learning. And a lot of other things. I mean,
There's a lot of nice options with unit
we're
districts.
working. I mean, it would make what we're doing with the orchestra and the music program would make that a lot easier to do, right? I mean, we're going to make that happen, and it's the right thing by kids. It would have been, sooner.
It's like our math program that Kristen introduced. It's from first grade up. She has that continuity in the math programs with our feeder schools. We could do that with our English programs. We could do that with many of our other programs.
Oh, no, I'm certainly, I think I'm pretty open about it. I'm in favor of it. I just think that lot of our information, comes through
Yeah.
IASB,
Yeah.
and they have a very set perspective on anything that touches this area. I just think it behooves everyone to read it independently and maybe read some of the proponent
Yeah, well,
pieces
they
of it as
can't
well.
have
So I'll
less
share
school
that.
districts, they
Yeah,
might
so
have less
Ramona,
money.
just for
Yeah.
process clarification, if Deanna has the link, she would send it probably, what, to Mary Ann, and then Mary Ann would disseminate it?
I can send a link to the group, that's fine.
You just can't reply all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same, just give, you can share information, just can't reply all.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's purely informational
Yeah.
anyways, you're not asking
Right.
for my opinion.
No, I'm not,
right?
I'm not.
okay,
I'm not in a position to
consideration
take
of
a vote.
items for future meetings?